CasterMuse Star League Season 4 coming at you here. Hey guys, I'm Artosis, and this is from Group E of the round of 24. This is the decider match in the top right of Optimizer. We have one of the 6 dragons, one of the 4 best players of all time. It is Stork. And in the bottom right, we have one of the strongest current Terrans in the world. He's been coming up for a very, very long time, and definitely considered about 3rd best Terran right now by most. It is Rush. The map is Optimizer. You can see the double gas split 4,000 and 1,000, so you can give yourself a little bit of a gas boost. Of course, there are some really interesting things about the natural expansion as well as the center area that we will dive into. It's very likely that we will see shuttle play, and very likely that we'll see dropship play here as well, as those both kind of tend to help out on the map quite a bit. Now, about their styles, right? Like, Stork has always been just a very strong Protoss. He kind of knows what to do and what will kill you. He comes up with builds that are kind of infuriating because it feels like you just can't stop them. I expect to see some of that out of him. Gets that gateway down at the front of his base. Maybe we'll see a Zealot pop out of that. His opponent here in Rush. Rush seems to be going for a gasless expand, but about Rush in particular, right? It feels like he's about the 3rd best Terran in the world right now. Like, Flash is number 1, always and forever. Light is a clear number 2. But Rush has really kind of started to come into his own. He's had a lot of ambition for a long time. In fact, he used to use the idea ASL 5 Champ Rush when preparing after ASL Season 4. And it was kind of like funny and a joke, but he's become so good at this point that his best games can absolutely beat anybody. He just needs to get that stability factor down. But Rush, in general, he has a really big range in Terran vs. Protoss. We see definitely a lot of vulture play, a lot of aggressive harassment, things like that, but he macros beautifully as well. Now, the SCV scouts Stork first. Stork actually did a very funny scouting pattern here. He went diagonal, and then he went to the top left. So he's going to scout Rush last, but his Zealot's going in the correct direction. So the Zealot will still get there as quickly as it possibly could, despite the fact that the probe is not really going to get in. Now, as mentioned, this is a gasless expand that we see. So just getting that command center quite quickly. But of course, when you get up there and you see that your opponent is going for a Zealot, you are going to slow it down a little bit, right? Like, we already see the 2nd depot. We're seeing multiple Marines pop out. And he's just focused right now on not taking damage from the Zealot. If he can kill the Zealot off and make his command center, that's going to be optimal. Ooh, some good micro there from Stork, actually. Rush failing for a moment. And now another Zealot going to try to run by. The SCVs come up. Beautiful blocking here. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Amazing blocking from Rush, getting a lot of extra damage down onto that Zealot. Uh-oh, but he does not micro the Marine correctly. It takes a hit from the Zealot. It dies. The probes and Zealots end up picking it off, and now he's killing SCV as well. And look at this. Rush is sitting here on 530 minerals. He hasn't made his command center yet. He's got way more money than what he wants to have. He wanted to have that command center down a long time ago. A factory expand would have already expanded by now. So he got slowed quite a bit. And in fact, it starts after the Nexus of Stork, who's already got his Cybernex core up. So overall, like, we saw some beautiful micro from Rush with the SCVs. But when the Marines came to fighting the Zealots, Stork was a step above. And I would say wins the early game, right? The game obviously nowhere near over. Both players, plenty of room to win, but what a beautiful execution there by Stork with those Zealots. All right, Rush gonna get down his factory. Stork already has range on the way, adding a robotics as well. Again, no big surprise there. You know, you have these extra mineral patches at the natural. And when you mine through them, you can gain access to another expansion here. Also, you know, you can do things like drop tanks here to siege up or try to run vultures by, that type of thing. So definitely a map where things like shuttles are very, very useful. Now Rush going into double factory. Probably wants to try to put some pressure on. Academy coming up shortly thereafter. Notice that he immediately starts mining these minerals. Wants to break through there as quickly as possible. The couple Dragoons run up, and that wasn't a mistake that you saw right there. This is a very common tactic that you check to make sure that there's a command center there. Sometimes Terrans will put a bunker up and try to fake you out while doing something like a 2-factory play. And the reason he ran up with both was because the bunker can't target, so it will just shoot kind of evenly amongst the goons, which means neither one took any actual hull damage. They'll heal completely from that. So nice move from Stork, checking out exactly what was going on. Shuttle on the way. That means Reaver Tech as well, and there it is. Second gateway coming up. Good, solid mining. Only a couple of workers ahead right now of Rush. Gonna start putting some pressure here on the bunker. Let's see what Rush is doing. Okay, he is getting the siege mode upgrade, so it looks like he's gonna go into, even though it's 2 factories, probably a slower macro play. Anytime that you have to get siege early on, you don't really have many opportunities to attack. It's such an expensive upgrade. But we'll see. We'll see. He mixes it up quite a bit. Yeah, he is producing a couple tanks. His armory is up now. He has that second gas. So it definitely does look that way. Okay, so now he is poking. He's got to be careful, though. 4 tanks, or 4 Dragoons, rather, will 2-volley a tank. It takes 8 goon hits to kill a siege tank, so you have to be very careful when they have 4. It's a magic number. You see him stepping up, taking that giant volley. Takes over half the health off of the siege tank, so Rush has to pull back, has to repair. Notice he does have 4 Marines in the bunker, though, so each time they run up, they are taking some damage. Let's take a look back here. It looks like Stork has the Reaver ready. He has a couple Zealots in that shuttle as well. Minor supply block here, throwing down... Actually, that's a pretty big supply block. Throwing down 3 pylons all at once. Ah, and look at this. Air weapons already, so Stork not messing around. He's going to go directly into carriers here. Now, here he comes. He actually flies over the bunker. That had to have been a misclick. That had to have been a misclick. That was really, really bizarre. And the reason he dropped the Zealot out there is because the bunker will then aggro the Zealot because the shuttle has low priority. So, a nice move to save the health on the shuttle. Very important. Rush, though, kind of ready in the main base. He's got the Goliath here. He's got the Siege Tank there. The shuttle's already taken a bit of damage, so Stork has to be careful. Ooh, a little bit of miss micro there from Rush. A little bit of harassment with that Reaver. Stork, very good with Reavers overall. Sending down some observers now as well. Stork is teching up into the carriers as we see. Second Stargate, Fleet Beacon on the way. Has that +1 air attacks coming along nicely. And also taking a 3rd base. Ooh, the scan from Rush. Don't know that he knows actually about the carrier tech as of yet. I don't believe that he does. Ooh, look at that. Even dropping behind the minerals, knowing every little place Scarabs can go through. Goliath range is done, so he's got to be very careful or he'll lose that shuttle. So it's kind of nice that Rush does already have that Goliath range, and in fact, he is going up into double armory. He's going to start his 2-1 upgrades. And since we see 3 facts here and no 3rd command center, he should add some more factories as well. It's pretty common to play like that. Over on Stork's side, just kind of macroing up out of his gateways, making that support army for the carriers. Getting carrier upgrades. Yeah, still trying to get some harass done. Yeah, gets a decent connection right there. Ooh, I love this move from Stork, or from Rush, though. He ends up getting the shuttle, which means that the Reaver will die as well. Some nice micro on both sides, both of them trying to get maximum value here. Even scans to make sure he sees where it's at. Finally clears that Reaver. So now, no more harassment going to be coming his way. All right, so 2-1 has just been started. Engineering bay on the way. Oh, the 3rd command center. Okay, so getting that off of 3 facts as opposed to 5, which definitely is doable, especially when you've already killed off the Reaver here. But that means he's going to have to play a much more prolonged game against the carriers of Stork, which I don't know if that's ever a great idea. Because Stork is so good at longer carrier games. He really knows how to utilize them. to gain value over time and whittle down a Terran player. Well, Rush is adding 4 factories. His macro really, really nice here. In fact, you can see 54 SCVs against just 46 probes, and he made comm stats, which costs 4 SCVs. So the probe production of Stork has not been completely consistent. He's definitely cut quite a few to do what he's done here. Sending the 2 carriers down. His gateway army not really that strong, right? We have about 12 units here. 3 more, just a few gateways pumping them out. I don't see a Citadel of a Dune, so Zealot Legs is pretty far off. But Stork deciding it is time to harass. And this is a great map for carriers, no doubt. There's a lot of ledges that you can go over to do harassment like this. Draw Rush back, and then you can fly back over here very quickly, quicker than the Goliaths can walk. Stork taking a 4th base here in the middle. Going to really rely upon his carrier defense there. I think, again, though, that's a kind of a smart move in a lot of ways. But Rush is going to have the upgrades you want to fight carriers. 2-1. You know, a lot of people talk about 2-1 Terran mech rushes. And the actual reason for the evolution of this build is to combat carriers. You're actually going to be killing interceptors in less volleys with +2 Goliaths. And of course, any plus armor is very useful because every +1 attack on the carrier, I mean, they have 8 interceptors, right? So it's really +8. And you kind of negate all of that with the armor. So, Rush is doing a build that he should feel pretty good against what Stork is doing. But again, this is kind of Stork's domain. This is the type of way that Stork really does like to play and has played for a very long time. So I feel like even though I look at Rush's position and know that this is theoretically a good spot for him, you got to look at Stork being comfortable with what he has. All right, let's zoom out a little bit and see what this battlefield's starting to look like. I like this, picking off observers where he can. That's really nice. You know that Stork is kind of starved for gas right now. Trying to fit every little thing in, get his upgrades, make his carriers. So picking off any observers you can is awesome. Also, vultures in a game like this, where you're going very upgrade heavy as Terran, the vultures are going to be very crucial against the carriers. You need them to be able to do things like counterattacks, lay mines around the field, because you have a lot of Goliaths. You'll be picking off quite a few of the observers. Now, Stork's carrier's coming in to harass again, but there's plenty of Goliaths here. He can't do too much, right? Like, maybe he'll kill a turret or 2. It looks like he's killed 3 turrets here, but he loses a decent amount of interceptors. He gets pushed back, but it kind of keeps tabs on Rush a little bit. As you can see, the worker count very similar, the army supply very similar. So overall, you have to look at this and say that Rush has a stronger army. He's got the 2-1 upgrades. Legs are not quite done for the Zealots, and his Goliaths are more than enough to deal with the 4 carriers. So Rush is attacking right now. He's really read the situation beautifully, and he should be able to get up here and get something done, I think. But the counterattack is occurring. The Goliath's going, and look at this. Stork is sending Zealots as well. So he's going to just be fighting against reinforcements. Rush going for a big attack towards the front, but Stork pulls his entire ground army off to the side and just picks off what chases him. Look at this. Stork really causing maximum chaos right now in this game. So now Stork's ground army has run around. Only Goliaths being produced right now from Rush. He wants to fight against these carriers, but then the carriers go back up here where he doesn't have as many Goliaths anymore. Stork has forced Rush into splitting his army in such a way that Stork can dismantle everything. Look at this. Pure Goliath coming out and fighting against Dragoon Zealot. That's going to be cost efficient for Stork. And GG is called as he loses everything. Stork takes him down and advances from the group.